Okay, overall, I thought it was a solid first practice. I know our guys were excited to get out there, just like we've done the last couple of years. We had our younger guys kind of observe. We practiced our older guys for 14 periods, and then younger guys, we really focused a lot of time on those guys. And we think that group has a chance to help us. And we think that group, has a handful of guys that could possibly help us early. Couple updates. Tyler Carr, he graduates Saturday, and he is going to go ahead and pursue, his dream, and he will no longer be with our team. But I will say this about Tyler's time here: he's a wonderful young man. He's brought a lot to, his time here at Auburn. We talked to our players about using their influence in a positive way, and I would say I would put him at the top. I mean, he just does a super job. We wish him nothing but the best in his career. Cord Sandberg, our quarterback that recently just signed with us, his brother's getting married, so he will miss today and tomorrow, and he'll be back for our third practice ready to go. A couple injury updates. Eli Stove and Will Hastings, they're progressing very well. I'm not ready to say, when they return, other than the fact that they're progressing very well. Both of them practiced today on a limited basis. Broderius Ham has a little bit of a knee issue. We feel like he'll have a chance to be back before fall camp. Nick Brahms is still recovering from his injury in the spring. We feel that kind of the same way that before fall camp he'll have a chance. And then Daquan Newkirk was limited today too, coming off that Achilles, and hopefully we get him, back after a short period of time. But overall, it was great to be out there with our players again and see our coaches, coaching the guys. Our coaches really brought their A game today. Great energy, and so we're 30 days away. I mean, that's the urgency that's a little bit different than it has been, the last couple years. And so we don't have quite as many practices. So when you have the ones that we have, you gotta make the best of it. So that was kind of our message to our team. Questions?
Coach, at SEC Media Days, a lot of your players were talking about wanting to finish, especially on the defensive side of the ball. In the last 2 years, kind of maybe felt like they came up short in the final couple of games. How is that maybe motivating factor going into this season?
Yeah, I think it's very motivating, and the fact that the defensive guys, that's what they talk about, and that's what their coaches talk about, and the fact that they experienced it. I mean, they're aware of it and trying to correct that.
Gus, on Stove and Hastings, I mean, it's way too early to know, but just the fact that they're doing this much
Yeah.
so early, and that's got to be quite encouraging.
Yeah.
That even in a limited capacity, that they're on the field day one of fall camp.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. And we've I've kind of been telling you as it's been going along that there's been real positive reports on both of them, and they both attacked their rehab really nice. And so we'll see where that goes. But just for them being out there and actually practicing, it wasn't like they were watching. I mean, they actually went through practice, and it wasn't a complete practice. It was limited, but there was some things I thought both of them did well. We'll see what happens. I'm not ready, like I said, to say any kind of timetable, but it's encouraging to have both those guys out there, throwing with Stidham.
Who do you look at to kind of step in for them to kind of try to fill the gap, whether it's Eli with the jet sweeps and the receiving, and obviously with Will Hastings what he did in the middle of the field?
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing that the offensive staff, is really wanting to see who steps up, and those are two big time players for us last year. I mean, big play guys, and not to have those guys, I mean that's concerning. But at the same time, this fall camp to be able to have guys to do what they did, we'll have that plan. Hopefully, we'll figure out that sooner rather than later. But I know that Coach Lindsey and his offensive staff is working hard, this whole fall camp to solve that.
Who else is going to play at that 3 spot? But you had Devin at the 2 with Ryan. Who's going to be in that 3 spot beyond Griffin?
We're going to move some people around. Cody's got a plan, and he'll probably have a couple young guys. Well, I'm not ready to say. I mean, here's what I'll say: we're going to probably rotate 3 or 4 guys the next 3 practices, and I can probably answer that question a little bit better probably after our first scrimmage. I mean, and really with those type questions about the different things, and then really with our offensive line, trying to get our offensive line in position, you know, where one guy has a certain position and you let him the rest of fall camp get better at that position. We're hoping that happens after the first scrimmage. So there's some areas like that number 3 spot that we have. Sal Canella was the guy that was there today. He's a bigger guy, but you know, I think Chip is just trying to get the most veteran guys out there first and give those young guys a chance to see what they can do. But there'll be a handful of guys have an opportunity.
He's just more comfortable. Seems like he's just energy all the time with the guys.
Yeah, and it's, you know, the fact that he really didn't go through spring other than 7-on-7s, all that, and out there for I mean, like, it felt very comfortable. He knows the offense inside and out, and he knows the adjustments, and, you know, it just feels different than it did last year, you know, because there was still a learning curve. And so I think he's in a good spot, you know, going into this season.
Let's talk about Colby football.
Making the playoffs,
Yeah.
and then it's disappointing.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, it's been a pretty motivating off season the whole time, and the fact that we do have a lot of leaders back, and they've kept that in front of their teammates and our coaches. You know, how we felt about being that close and the disappointment and all that goes with it. But, you know, it's a new year. I do know that our coaches and our teams are very excited and looking forward to the challenge. You know, I've said it before, we got the toughest schedule in college football. We road games, some really tough road games, and the first game we're playing what, the number 6 team in the country, and they may be, you know, one of the most complete teams that we play the whole year, if not the most complete team. I mean, they're really good on offense, they're really good on defense. Their coach is exceptional, and so it'll be a good measure and stick of where we're at.